I gotta start the video out right. Maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe I won't. But what up? It is now the next day from yesterday. I posted one video yesterday. I ended it because of a turd. And then I uploaded a video that I filmed last night because shocking breaking news. I got high last night. That's what's happened since you've seen me. Well, you saw me in the mirror when you that video I did in the mirror about my hairline. Yeah, that's when I'm high. So look for more of that because honestly, some of the most mind blowing stuff I do is when I'm high. So maybe I should just take the good with the bad. Take we'll see. My compass is ever constantly evolving. But anyways, what up? I am Randolphimus Prime, and just kind of picking up where I left off yesterday. I was just kind of talking about just my life. I feel like I'm behind a lot, and I compare myself to other people a lot. I see a lot of these YouTubers and TikTokers and entrepreneurs, comedians that kind of blew up, over the last 10 years, that kind of got in the game in the beginning. And now I feel like I'm behind. I feel like I'm behind in this race, this rat race, and then I look at people who have made money off investing. People there's just such easy things that I could have done in my life that I would have been rich by now, requiring very little physical labor. And a lot of that is I could have invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago. I could have invested in Facebook, Google, YouTube 10 years ago. Walmart, Amazon 10 years ago. Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart 10 years ago. And I could have just been fine by now. I could have been living an amazing life at this point now. I could have just been working a regular 9 to 5 job, just waiting for my stocks to increase to a point to where here I am right now, 30. I could have been a millionaire by now just by waiting 10 years for my investments to increase. But nope. I've been doing shit with my life. I've been working all kinds of different jobs, but it's just really depressing. I'm 30 years old, and yeah, it could be worse. I'm an American. I could be living in some war-torn country, in the middle of a war right now, or in North Korea, or I could be living in a really poor. I could be living in India right now. Fuck, goddamn, And so, you'd think I'd be a little bit more appreciative, and I am. I do appreciate it, but not as much as I am upset about what I don't have. Sorry, I'm sorry you don't have legs and you're retarded and you look like the Elephant Man, and all these people that have all these problems, their fucking dick don't work, the fucking, you know what I mean, physically, people that are paralyzed, you know what I mean, people that have Down syndrome, you know what I mean, I should be much more grateful, you know what I mean, for what I have, and for what I don't have, but even when I do think about all those other horrifying scenarios, it really doesn't make me feel that much better about the fact that I'm not a millionaire. I'm pissed. I'm not pissed enough, clearly, but oh, damn, I wish there was a time machine, Wish there was a fucking time machine. But everybody thinks that, you know. I'm just like stuck between wanting more, seeing how pathetic, like, and I just really look down on the way that my life is. I really look down on it. It's living in a 3-bedroom apartment is not in Syracuse, New York, in the hood. Living paycheck to paycheck. It's not fucking. It's not. I don't like it. I don't like not being high status. It drives me nuts. Like, I want nothing less than the most beautiful woman on the face of the earth. And how am I supposed to have that if I don't even have $1 million in the bank? The fuck? The fuck? So I got some time to make up for. I gotta make up for time lost here. I need to be fucking rich in the next 2 years. Serious. I need to be rich. I need to have $1 million in the next 2 years. I'm not joking. This has got to happen. And if I could just get to a point to where I'm famous enough or monetary enough to be rich, I mean, I'm gonna do go with my stuff. I mean, if you guys can get me to a point, well, maybe not. I might actually just keep all my money. I might keep it all. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry. Like, I'll give it a lot of it away. I mean, I'll be generous. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do something like, you know, if I see somebody on the side of the road, car's broken down, you know, I pay for their tow, I pay for their repairs. You know what I mean? Just things like that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't like be. I don't know. It just depends on my cash flow. Because make no mistake, I want to travel the whole earth. I want to travel the whole earth. I want to travel everywhere. Everywhere that I know of, and everywhere that I don't know of. And I even want to travel off Earth. And I want to do it with the most beautiful woman on the face of the earth. And, you know, that's all I want. Nothing less. Nothing really more either. I mean, I just want to have enough money to do whatever I want. Whenever I want. That's it. There's a lot of money in the world. And it just pisses me off that I've been too fucking distracted and depressed and high for the last 10 years. Too lazy, too plugged into fucking binge watching shit, and like I haven't really done anything with my life, and I didn't even really need to do anything. All I needed to do was invest in like 20 different things, which would have taken 20 fucking minutes, and then just invested in them and just kept my money there. And just waited fucking. You know, I mean, I could have put like $100 into Bitcoin. I could have put $100 into each thing. And dude, if I put $100 10 years ago in Bitcoin, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber, Instacart, Walmart, Amazon, Pfizer, Moderna, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Netflix, Amazon, obviously I already said Peacock. Like all the streaming services and all the big tech platforms and the Bitcoin. If I just put $100 into each of those things 10 years ago, I'd be good. I would literally just be doing whatever I want right now. Half my money would be put aside, growing, making me more money, and half my money I'd be fucking spending doing whatever the fuck I want. No, here I am on the top of a 2-unit home. I have the upstairs unit, 3 bedrooms, living in the fucking cuts in Syracuse. And life is short, Life is short, And it's just fucking depressing, dude. And I feel like I just get too late to things. But it's gonna change. It's gonna change. I mean, like I said, so as I was saying, I've progressed. I've progressed slightly. So like I said, so now let me go back here because I forgot a couple things now. I might also name this tangent, or I might have a certain portion or a certain segment or a certain scenario in my videos called tangent, or certain videos that are going into a tangent playlist, which in all reality, probably everything I ever say is a tangent or comes from a tangent. So I might just name my podcast Tangent. But Randolphimus Prime is nice. I love the name Randolphimus Prime, dude. It just doesn't make any sense. It gives you a feeling, but it doesn't make any sense. Kind of like Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd doesn't make any sense, but hey, it's a kick-ass fucking name. And it feels great when you hear the vibe of the name Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? So Pink Floyd, hey, Randolphimus Prime. Tell me that doesn't sound epic. It is. I am. Why am I not rich? Well, I just explained to you why. It's depressing. It's really fucking depressing. So, going back to my childhood, some things I left out. So, yes, I was raised by a Pentecostal Christian family. And yes, I was not cool in school until like high school. And now I lived next door, directly next door. Like their house looked just like my house, built by the same builders. They're literally a complete mirror image of each other, our houses. And so our neighbors, they're also Christian. And so now, I grew up, I was an only child for the first 4 years of my life. And then I had a brother when I was 4, and then I had a brother when I was 6. So, but even so, I'm 4 years old, I'm a full-blown kid. It takes a couple of years for a baby to become functional, you know what I mean? So all, like, for the golden years of my childhood, from the ages of, 3 to, 7, and even past that, because I was so much older than my brothers, proportionally, for the first beginning of my childhood, that it's just, it was just me, and then my next door neighbor, who was the same age as me. He was just a few months older than me. And he was adopted from Russia. And, I mean, he was my best friend. I mean, we just did everything together outside of school. Now, we didn't go to school together. If we did go to school together, he would have been my best friend in school too. But, he didn't even go to school. I mean, he was even less cool than me because he didn't even go to fucking school. He was homeschooled. So, you thought my family was sheltering? His family is even more sheltering to him. So, but I think he was allowed to do like Harry Potter stuff though, interestingly enough. But like they were more like socially like pussies, to be honest. Just they're more like really strict on how you talk and behavior. They're very proper. They're worse. They're worse than my parents, honestly. Look, I want to say it. My parents are great. Okay, when I say certain things about my childhood, like, my parents are great. My dad is an exceptional human being, and my mom is as well. And they're both very principled, and they're God-fearing, and they're good-hearted, loving, giving to their friends and family and community people. They love to connect. They love to talk. They are very well respected and principled people. So I just want I just don't want to take away from the fact of that. My parents they did what they thought was best. You know what I mean? And you got to think. It's a looking back, it's a dirty world. If I had the resources, I'd probably homeschooling my kids too. You know what I mean? Like growing up, realizing about a lot of the conspiracies, a lot of the evil and corruption in the world, in our governments, in our culture, in our media. There's a degradation of our society taking place here. And my parents were just trying to shelter me and make sure I was only being influenced by certain things, which is a very valid, reasonable thing. You know what I mean? Like, people are influenced. People are influenced by what they consume through vision, through hearing, through smell, through experience, through memories, and what they do, and what people around them do, and their peers, and their environment. You are, what you surround yourself with. And for the most part, you know what I mean? Like, those things have such a very heavy influence. So, fuck is it green? Because it's Takis probably. So, I get it, but here's the thing: I just wish I wasn't necessarily sheltered and cut off and ignorant to certain things. And I wish I would have made more aware of certain things, because you're gonna discover them eventually. I'm gonna discover porn eventually. I'm gonna discover tits and pussy eventually. I'm gonna discover drugs eventually. I'm going to discover all these pop culture things that you're trying to keep and hide from me eventually, and that I know nothing about now. But when I do find out, I'm gonna find out without any of your guardrails, because I'm going to be finding out on my own, not because of you. And a lot of that is because, my parents, my parents probably didn't even know what half these drugs were. I mean, shit, I grew up thinking marijuana and tobacco were the same thing. And the terminology, marijuana, was derived as like a term of like wacky tobacco. You know what I mean? It's like marijuana was first known as like the tobacco that gets you high. You know, it was so I mean but I didn't know that. You know, to the point in 2011, I mean, marijuana was clearly fucking weed, and tobacco was clearly fucking tobacco. But I didn't know. I thought all these posters about marijuana, I thought they were talking about tobacco. I thought it was the same thing. I didn't know the difference. I didn't know anything about sexual diseases, stuff like that. But again, my parents, they grew up in a very Christian families too, so it's like they weren't exposed to drugs or pop culture really that much. I mean, probably music-wise, yeah, but my dad still to this day has never had a sip of alcohol in his entire life. Never done any drugs. All he drinks is coffee and eats sugar. That's the only cripples he has, and media and you know, media, phones and social media. He's addicted to those things, but they didn't grow up in a family that would have allowed them to understand certain things, like drugs. And to my knowledge, I believe my dad has only ever had sex with my mom too. So it's not like they don't understand a lot about the sexual world and the pros and cons of it. I mean, like I didn't. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But like I wasn't exposed to any of it, and I wasn't taught about any of it, the good or the bad or anything about it. I mean, how can my dad relate to me? He still can't relate to me on drugs because he's never done drugs. So I just felt like I was just being overly sheltered, and my next door neighbor was even more sheltered. But we were best friends. And tangent. Okay. So my first sexual experience. Yeah, we're going that direction. It was gay. And I was a child. You know, I guess you could say I've veered off the road a couple of times throughout my life. So, speaking of being sheltered, right? So, I'm discovering tits and pussy on my own. You know what I mean? My first instances of feeling sexually aroused, or in my early adolescence, of me going to foxsports.com and looking at the swimsuit pictures, swimsuit model pictures. They would update it like every week. It seems like they would have like some new like list of baddest babes of the week or something. And then also when my dad got his Carhartt magazines, the back section of the magazines would have like lingerie, lingerie, some spicy outfits. Nothing explicitly nude, but very revealing outfits and clothing on Fox Sports and the Carhartt magazine. You know what I mean? So I'd like sneak the magazines out of my dad's room and like. So as I'm discovering this, me and my next door neighbor. So you gotta realize, like, he's my next door neighbor. I saw him every day. Like, we grew up together. I lived there my entire childhood. My parents still live there. His parents still live there. And so we would sleep over at each other's houses a lot. We'd share a bed, and we could talking. It's like, hey, um, have you ever tried this? Have you ever tried rubbing your tip of your dick on your sheets? um, yeah, and I forget exactly how the conversation went, but it's like basically we kind of got to talking, discovering, and inquiring and elaborating on our sexual on this feeling. We don't even know if it is sexual. Like, I mean, it is sexual, but it's like at this point, I never saw a vagina before. You know what I mean? At this point, I don't even know how old I was. I might have been like 10 years old, doing this shit. I'm not gonna lie. 10, 11, 12. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe not to 12, but like for a couple of years, like maybe even when I was like 7 or 8, I was doing this shit. Like, now I want to be clear. I wasn't molested by any adults. This is just me and my few month older best friend. And in the feeling when you're first discovering this, when you're seeing lingerie and lingerie and revealing clothing, and you're first getting that arousal feeling down there, it's mind blowing. You know, like you know what I mean. So it's this unbelievable feeling. So I'm just trying to explain this. It's like, hey, this is an amazing feeling. You should try it. And so we would try it together. We would do it together. Now, yes, that is gay. But I wasn't doing it in like a gay mind frame. I mean, believe me, once I'm aroused, I'm aroused. And now we're both aroused, and you're here next to me. You're naked, I'm naked. Fuck it. We're already aroused. That's, you know. Now, I didn't fuck him in the ass. Everything we did was we just like fondle each other and suck each other off and kiss each other down there. That, you know what I mean? That's and it was more like a role play, and it was more like chasing this feeling. I wasn't thinking like, oh, this is a guy. I like guys. That's why I'm doing this. No, I'm doing this because I discovered sexual arousal by watching and looking at Fox and Carhartt swimsuit lingerie pictures of females that I have now brought this idea and this feeling to you because you're my best friend and I'm explaining this to you, and now I'm feeling this way. Let's continue. Let's chase this. Let's see what we can. Let's experiment with it. Let's have some fun with this feeling. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, a difference between that and deliberately just thinking, oh, I'm gay. And I'm not, look, I get it. What I did was very fucking gay. And that was the first sexual experience of my life. Repeatedly. I don't know if I've had as much sex with him, oral sex, if that, but I've done just as much sexually explicit things with him as I've done with anybody. So now, once we get older, and I'm becoming less sheltered. You know, I didn't even know what gay meant. You know, until a certain point in my life. I'm getting older. I'm getting into my, I'm getting ready to go into middle school. And, I'm realizing how weird this is. I'm realizing how fucking weird this is. And, so we kind of just like stopped doing it. We kind of like, no, I don't want to do it this time. We kind of just like decided to stop doing it, and kind of just forgot about it. and didn't really talk about it. I haven't talked to him since. See, another problem I have with my life is I feel like I get caught up in my mistakes, my catastrophic mistakes, and I'm making my mistakes worse by just spiraling out of control into an abyss of brokenness and losing everything I have and moving back in my grandma's basement. But what was that point I was trying to make? Whenever I do certain things in my life and I come to a certain status in my life where I'm ashamed of who I am, I cut off people. I cut off a lot of people because I'm ashamed and I don't really want to see these people. I don't want to face up to them. I've ghosted so many people. And even right now, I mean, I haven't been to work in a few weeks because I've been spiraling out of control for the last couple months because I was getting cheated on by the most beautiful woman on the face of the earth. And I basically just, and then now she's moved away and she's living in Brooklyn. And, I live my life with a lot of regrets, And, point I'm trying to make here. See, this is what happens. I smoke a lot of weed. I got brain damage. So he was homeschooled. My next door neighbor was homeschooled up until like late middle school, early high school. And once his parents started allowing him to go, when he got a little bit older, at this point I had started to get a few friends in middle school. I started to try to fit in and be a tool and be cool and gain some status. You know what I mean? And Noah, why did I say his name? Fuck. Whatever. I'm not saying his last name. But I kind of would like he was the new kid. He was the new kid, middle school. He's been homeschooled for the last 7 years. He's some adopted, and he's adopted from Russia. On top of that, he was adopted when he was 4 years old from Russia. So he didn't come in with any status. He had no status when he came in, and so I kind of would, once he started going to school, he thought, oh, we were gonna be besties. Yeah, no, I would not hang out with him a lot. Like I would hang out with him sometimes, but I would like kind of keep my distance. Like, nah, dude, see, I'm cliquey now, and you ain't with the clique, so you know what I mean. So the point I'm trying to make here is, see, I'm tangenting too many different directions. This is what I do. This is tangents. So the way I grew up, right? Very sheltered, whatever. It was fine. It was really honestly fine. It was not like not that bad. It's not a reason or excuse to why I couldn't have invested 10 years ago into certain things that I would be rich right now. You know. But, so the point I was trying to make originally in the last video was like, look, I've incrementally gotten better over the last 10 years of my life. I've gone up, I've come back down, I've gone up, I've come back down, but I'm every time overall gradually, I'm better off. Well, maybe not at this exact moment, but the last high of the average of the last 2 years of my life have been the most responsible years of my life. So, graduated high school, right? With my grandma, a year after high school, went to college. After working a year in masonry, I took a year off of school between high school and college. Ended up going to OCC. Ended up pretty much wasting my time there. I went there for graphics and design. And it was just too tedious for me. They want you to spend 4 hours drawing something that I could draw just as good in an hour. And it was just really tedious, and plus I was getting high. So why do I want to go to school? I'm high. I'm having a good time. I'm distracted. Sorry. I kind of just took the federal grant money for college and took that money and bought a car with it and kind of fucked off for a year at OCC. So kind of fuck off for a year at OCC. And then after that, I saw a sign for making $450 a week. I'm like, okay, fuck it. This is back in 2014. This is some good money 10 years ago. For starting off. This is me like, okay, you finished high school, you tried college, you fucked off, you need to get a good job now. You need to get a good job. This is real life. You gotta get a good job. So $450 a week 10 years ago was not a bad place to start. So went to the interview, and it was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. So that sucked, to say the least. That sucked. And I'm like, damn, going door to door, dressed in a suit and tie, in the heat, in any weather. You're going around door to door in a suit and tie, and then you have to convince these people, like, look, I'm going to do a free 30-minute demonstration for you. I'm going to clean your house for free. Okay, we're going to clean, like, one room in your house for free. Okay? You don't have to buy anything. We just want to demonstrate for you. Okay? So my job was to get them to allow me into their house to do a free demonstration. And during that demonstration, my job is to convince them that they should get this $2,000 lead weight of a vacuum cleaner. Now, Kirby's, don't get me wrong, they'll suck a golf ball through a garden hose. They have high suction rate. They seem to be very, high quality, industrial pieces. That's why they're so fucking heavy. They look really cool. They have a really cool design. They're really classic-y. But goddamn, are they heavy? And they just seem like they're just unnecessary. And they're expensive as hell. So it was not. I mean, look, I'm not the best salesman in the world. You know what I mean? So, why have I been in sales for the past 10 years? Because I still think sales is the best. It's just the sales are the American dream. Like, the fuck? Like, if you ain't making sales, then you ain't living the American dream. You just straight up aren't. Whether it's sales for a different company or it's sales for yourself. Sales are the bedrock of America. So that's why I'm in sales. Not because I'm the best salesman or even close to being a really good salesman. Just because, like, it's just the best thing to be in overall, I think. As long as you're doing good, though. So the thing is, you gotta be doing good in it. And, like, I've learned the formula of sales, but my brain is fried. And I'm an emotional wreck. And I'm lazy, so it's tough. I know I feel like I haven't really gotten anywhere in this video. I feel like I've kind of left off where I left off last time. But I gotta pause this for a second because